Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into something we all do, but maybe don't understand nearly enough: sleep. And with some incredible insights from neuroscientist Matthew Walker, we're going to uncover what he calls a silent global health crisis, one that affects literally every single one of us. But don't worry, we're also going to talk about what you can actually do about it. So get this. This quote is from the co-founder of Netflix, Reed Hastings. And it's pretty revealing, right? It tells you everything about how some of the systems designed to entertain us see our sleep. It's not a biological necessity to them. It's their competition. It's an obstacle they need to overcome, so we spend more time on their platform. And look, this isn't just about you or me pulling a few all-nighters. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker is sounding the alarm, calling it a silent epidemic of sleep loss. He sees it as a full-blown public health crisis that's just quietly chipping away at our well-being on a massive, massive scale. Okay, so if we're basically waging a war on sleep, what's the actual damage? I mean, what does it really cost us when we treat a fundamental biological need like it's some optional luxury? Well, as you're about to see, the price we pay is absolutely staggering. Let's just start with the money. In the US alone, not sleeping enough costs the economy, wait for it, over $411 billion every single year. I mean, that's just a mind-boggling number. It comes from lost productivity, soaring healthcare costs, and, even tragic accidents. To put that number into perspective for you, that's 2% of the entire country's GDP. Just think about that for a second. Imagine the kinds of problems we could solve with that kind of money, all of which we're losing just because we're too tired. And you might think, oh, that's not me. But this is not some niche problem. In most developed countries, about a third of all adults are not getting the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep. A third. That means a huge chunk of our population is walking around day in and day out, running on empty. Okay, so that's the big picture societal cost. But let's bring it back to you, because the impact of sleep loss is incredibly personal, and the effects on our own bodies can be just as dramatic, especially when we talk about things like weight and metabolism. It really all kicks off with two key hormones that control your appetite. You've got leptin, which is the one that tells your brain, hey, we're full, you can stop eating now. And then you've got its opposite, ghrelin, which is basically screaming, I'm starving, go find food. The problem is, when you don't get enough sleep, this whole delicate system just goes completely haywire. And the science here is super specific. After just one bad night's sleep, leptin, your I'm full signal, plummets by 18%. At the exact same time, ghrelin, the I'm hungry hormone, spikes by 28%. So what happens? Well, this crazy hormonal imbalance makes us eat an extra 300 to 400 calories a day, and we don't even realize why we're doing it. This kicks off what is basically a disastrous chain reaction. Step 1, your hormones go crazy, making you feel way hungrier than you actually are. Step 2, that feeling hijacks your brain, and suddenly you're getting intense cravings for all the bad stuff. And step 3, to make it all worse, it messes with how your body loses weight, forcing it to burn precious muscle instead of fat. And listen, this is so important. It is not a failure of your willpower. When you're sleep deprived, the logical part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, basically goes offline. Meanwhile, the more primal, deep brain reward centers are firing on all cylinders, screaming for carbs, sugar, and salt. Your brain is literally biologically rewired to make bad food choices. Okay, and this is maybe the most shocking part of all. Let's say you're on a diet. If you're not getting enough sleep, 60% of the weight you lose will be from lean muscle, not fat. I'm going to say that again. Your body holds on to the fat you're trying to lose and gets rid of the muscle you desperately want to keep. It's a total disaster. All right, I know that was a lot of bad news, but here's the good news. We can absolutely fight back. This is not a lost cause. So let's open up the toolkit and look at 6 powerful, science-backed ways you can reclaim your night. So here they are, the big 6. Number 1, regularity. 2, darkness. 3, keep your room cool. 4, walk it out if you can't sleep. 5, be strategic with your caffeine. And 6, avoid that nightcap. These 6 things right here, they are the foundation of what we call good sleep hygiene. Okay, let's zoom in on the first 3, because these are kind of the core 3. First up, regularity. This means going to bed and waking up at the same time. And yeah, that includes weekends. It's like anchoring your body clock. Second, darkness. About an hour before bed, start dimming the lights. It's a powerful signal to your brain to start producing melatonin. And third, temperature. You want your bedroom to be cool, around 18.5 Celsius or 65 Fahrenheit. Your body's core temperature actually needs to drop to fall asleep and stay asleep. All right, let's talk about caffeine. Now, you've probably heard of a half-life, right? But Matthew Walker has a much more useful way to think about it, the quarter life. And that's exactly what it sounds like, the time it takes for a quarter of the caffeine you drink to still be active in your system. So think about this for a second. If you have a cup of coffee at noon, a full quarter of that caffeine is still sloshing around in your brain at midnight. That's basically the same as tucking yourself into bed and then chugging a quarter cup of coffee right before you hit the lights. It's wild, right? And what about that glass of wine or beer to help you sleep? Yeah, that's one of the biggest myths out there. Alcohol isn't a sleep aid. It's a sedative. It's basically just knocking your brain out. It's not natural sleep. It actually fragments your sleep all night long. And worst of all, it blocks your REM sleep, your critical dream sleep. And that actually brings us perfectly to our final and honestly my favorite part of all of this, the incredible power of our dreams. We're not just talking about weird stories your brain makes up. This is a profound biological process that Matthew Walker actually calls a form of overnight therapy. He describes it as informational alchemy, which is just a beautiful way to put it. See, during that REM dream sleep, your brain isn't just filing memories away like a boring clerk. It's connecting all the new stuff from your day with its entire back catalog of everything you've ever experienced. And in doing that, it comes up with these amazing, novel solutions to problems that you were totally stuck on when you were awake. And this leads to such a powerful idea. You know that old saying, time heals all wounds? Well, the science suggests we need to be a little more specific. It's not just time. It is the time spent in dream sleep that provides, as he puts it, emotional convalescence. So, how does this overnight therapy work? Well, it's amazing. Dream sleep very cleverly strips away the bitter emotional charge from a difficult memory. Think of it like taking the bitter peel off an orange. You get to keep the fruit, the knowledge, the lesson from what happened, but you don't have to relive that intense, painful emotion every single time you think about it. So what this all comes down to is that we have to completely reframe how we think about sleep. It is not passive downtime. It is an incredibly active and intelligent state that's essential for our creativity, for our problem solving, and for our emotional healing. Which leaves us with one last really fascinating question to think about. If our dreams really are a form of therapy, what is your brain trying to tell you tonight?